Call Sugar House Poker Room.
Calling Sugar House Poker Room. Sugar House Poker Room, Farron, how may I help you?
Hi, this is Phil K. Can you put me on the 2-5 list?
Yeah, sure, so I'll see you soon.
All right, see you in a couple minutes. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Hey, and thanks for tuning in. This is another one of my vlogs, and this time I'm on my way to Sugar House, actually. And so I wanted to talk about a big change that happened at Steem yesterday, or that was announced yesterday by the founders, and that is they want to completely change the financial model of Steem. Currently, we have about 100% inflation rate target after the first year. First year right now, it's much higher than that, of course. And so they want to change that from 100% to 10%. I think it's a great change, and it shows great leadership because essentially the founders are looking at their design, realizing that it doesn't work, and drastically adjusting. And so I think that just shows that these guys are really good at what they're doing, which is innovating, throwing away what doesn't work, keeping what does work. So I think the new changes are great. You can read about them on Steem, so I'm not going to go into them. I do want to cover what I think has been left out. So what they're addressing is the financial model, basically, financial policy. But in order to really create value on Steem, we need to get lots of users to use Steem, write content, and consume the content on Steem. So that is really what it's all about. Everything else is secondary because this is what drives the value. So none of these aspect of how that happens has been touched. And so I do think that the financial model is important, but it is primarily an hygienic factor, meaning you can use the financial policy to screw things up, but you can't really use the financial policy to create value or to really attract users. So it is, however, a very important part, because if the value of the Steems go down, then that drives people away. We have seen this dramatically, that there's a high correlation of price going down and users just leaving. Although I think users have always kind of left, even when the price was high. So there's a couple aspects that we need to change about how we reward users, because I think that's the most important aspect to actually keeping users on the site and attracting new users. So we need to work on retention, and we need to also work on attracting users. The number one issue, and I don't mean this in a priority type of sense, but just the first one I'm talking about right now, is the fact that content is only valuable for a day. And that limits the type of content very much, because I can only pretty much get paid in the first day. Technically, I can also get paid, after day one, but practically I've never gotten votes, or I've never gotten much money after day one. So really in Steem, it's all about big hit really quickly and then write something new. And so what I think that limits a lot of creators, because a lot of creators, they want to build something that can be consumed for a long time, years or months or something like that. So that's, I think, important. It works in certain scenarios, like in Facebook, content really is only valuable in the short term and not in the long term. But think about YouTube, think about Medium, think about if you want to teach people something. It's really important that you can put up this sort of content on Steem and get rewarded for it in a long term. I personally have a video on YouTube that has 50,000 hits, hasn't received any sort of votes at all for about a year, and the 50,000 views basically happened in the last 2 months. And so now I consistently have every day about 1,000 views. So that to me is like amazing. But again, it would not have happened if the video was only valuable for like a day. So that is something I think we should look at. The other thing is that a big reason for people to be on Steem is the financial rewards. And so what we are the way the rewarding works is that very few people get a lot of money. And this is by design, and this is so that we create viral content, or that people are really rewarded for only producing the very best amount of content. And the quality of content is very, very important. However, what is also very important is that we pay many, many people, because overall what we need is many people on the site. So if 100 people come to the site and we only reward 2 or 3%, then that is a lot worse than if we reward 30%, because if we reward 30%, we will have 30 people that are happy and will come back to the site instead of 3. And ultimately, the most important part is just people going to the site and using the site. That is the most important aspect. So because of that, I think we need to change the way we reward people, from only rewarding very few people lots of money and spreading that wealth among more content creators. Of course, quality of content is still important. I'm not saying to just reward people randomly or anything like that, but right now it's just too crazy and too much focused on too few little people. The third thing that I think is really important is how we get rewarded for actually voting. So the curation. I don't like how that works today. It's pretty much a game theory type skill game where you vote within half an hour to 1 hour after the content has been created, and you vote for popular authors, and that is basically a recipe for printing money. So I think today the best voters would be bots. And we really don't want to reward bots, we want to reward people. So in my opinion, curation needs to just reward people for showing up and voting, and letting people decide what they want to vote or what they want to reward. I think that is really, really important, that we just empower the curators to just like whatever the heck they want to like, and not change their behavior to vote for things that they think that other people will like. Because we really need to measure what people like as being good quality content. And the only way we can do this is if we just allow people to vote for anything and do not manipulate what they vote for with the reward system. So instead of focusing on at what time people vote for what, we should really just kind of look that people show up all the time, vote a certain amount of time, are active and reading content, and then we should reward them. So that to me are the 3 things that we should also look at, and that are actually going to be more important than just the financial policy. So number 1, we need to allow different types of content that has a longer shelf time. We need to spread the wealth among more content creators, and we need to let the curators vote for what they think they like, instead of manipulating what they should vote for, and thereby changing the actual thing that we want to accomplish with people voting. So that's what I think we ought to do in order to make Steem even better than it already is. I am so excited about the flexibility of the leadership at Steem. I am so excited for all the innovation that happens all the time. I think it's really phenomenal. There's been so many versions and so many little innovations that happen all the time, that I'm actually really happy, even though I've lost, over 90% of the value that I've put into the system. So thanks for watching, and yeah, I hope some of the Steemit folks maybe listen to this and have a dialogue about why they think I'm right or why they think I'm wrong. So thanks for watching, and I would love to get some feedback on this.